the defense on that play. It was a well-executed play. The fake towards the inside and just a pitch out, and our defender was left all alone waiting to try to stop him.
1st and 10 for the Bruins. Hand off to the second back. He is stopped up at this line of scrimmage. A lot of Falcons in there. Starry and Polish, and no way, that was no flag. 1:51 remaining in the third period, and all I keep getting is flashbacks to the game at YSU this year. We should have had a couple turnovers in our favor, and now there's a personal foul against the Falcons, and there was no way that was a personal foul. The running back broke away from the pile by throwing his body about it, and it looked like the Falcons were doing something, but they weren't. Polish was called for that, but that was not a penalty. It should have been thrown. So that'll give the Bruins 15 yards and move it all the way out to their own 29-yard line. Well, that's a little West Virginia hospitality there.
All kidding aside, we've dominated this team constantly. We're only up by 14 points. Any little slight move, the first half, they were getting their wide receivers out deep and so on. This game certainly is still up in the air, and we don't need things like that going on. And frankly, I agree. I would call it if it was one of the players who had a personal foul. There was no personal foul there, but the official believed there was.
But still rolls out. He has his receiver. Fumbled, the ball is fumbled, and it rolls right in the hands of Chuck Campbell. And I think the referees are looking for something they can do, but there is no way they can stop that when it bounced right off the ground. Hauser and Powers forced the ball loose, and Chuck Campbell recovers it. So the Falcons gain the ball back quickly, and they now have 1st and 10 on the Bruins' 35-yard line.
You know what's happening here, Kevin?
Take that to 37.
The Falcons play a rougher brand. They hit a lot harder than the Bruins do. And I'm not sure the Bruins are used to that. And what's happening is that this is a long series of fumbles. This one finally went in our hands, so we got to keep it.
Fletcher rolls out. He's looking downfield for Scott. He's going to have to run it. Good running by Derek Fletcher. Gets him close to a 1st down. So that's a broken pass play that turned into a big play.
Matt Marakovich did a heck of a job. He went out as a late receiver. He realized that Derek was going to run the ball. He just turned around and flattened the quarterback who was watching him, or it was a linebacker, but he just put him right down.
So that'll be a pickup of 9 there by Fletcher. They'll bring a 2nd down and a long one. Weston gets the call. He has enough for the 1st down, but not much more. And there's a player down on the field for the Bruins. I'd like to remind our Falcon followers that the game films are shown every week by the Touchdown Club in the Austintown Fitch High School cafeteria at 7:30 p.m. And you'll get to hear the coach, Dave Hartman, and his comments about the previous week's game, and you also see the game films as well. And it's sponsored by the Touchdown Club. There are no fees or membership requirements, so join the Touchdown Club for game films Tuesday at 7:30, Fitch Cafeteria.
Well, I'm not sure they're still in the cafeteria. Last week they went to the small gym, but they're going to go to the cafeteria this week. Okay, we just got the word from Ken Cooley, who takes the films. I have a little note here from Coach Powell also. There's a wrestling pre-season tournament on the 22nd of October at the Fitch Gymnasium. That's this Saturday. For information, you can call 792-0182. So our wrestling team is, the preseason looks very good, and we'll see what they could do. We'll be talking to Coach Powell on Coach's Corner in a couple of weeks. It's sad to see anyone get hurt. I am surprised that we didn't have more of this. They are 2 very hard-hitting teams out there. Also, we got to remind everyone, next week it's Warren Western Reserve. That is a big, big game for the Falcons. Well, if we could win that, we could almost guarantee a playoff.
And I'd mentioned earlier on that Reserve is 5th in the state in the AP coaches poll, and they are 2nd in our region of computer rankings for the playoffs, so that'll be a big game. And also it'll be bigger if we can keep our lead here and go out of this with a victory, which it looks like we will. So Marakovich is the carrier, and he'll pick up about 3, bring up a 2nd down for the Falcons. second and 7. That's going to end the third period here in Brooke, West Virginia, with the score still remaining. Austintown Fitch 14, Brooke Bruins nothing.
You all know by now, since you've been listening to our rebroadcast, that we are sponsored by the Robertson Studio and Kamara Jewelers, and we hope each of you will patronize both of these great establishments for their support that they give to the Channel 19 and our production staff. We also invite any other sponsors who may want to come in and take over sponsorship of some of the other activities that we have at Fitch High School. All you have to do is call the high school and ask for the general manager of Channel 19, and that's Mr. Paul Porman. And I'm sure that the two of you could get together so we could have more sponsors for our games. This is a production of the Austintown Fitch High School television production class, and we'd like to thank the Brooke High School principal, Mr. Anthony Paisano, and his assistants for the right to come up here today and televise this game, and head coach and their athletic directors for the same courtesy. So we thank them very much.
So the Falcons are in good field position with a drive mounting towards the end zone. First down, and to make that second and 7 with the beginning of the fourth period. Wesson gets the double handoff, and he's all the way down to the 11-yard line of the Bruins, good enough for a first down. So the Falcons once again start to get into scoring position. Hopefully they're more successful than their last attempt when we were stopped at 4th and 1 on the goal line.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing I like about it is we're on the 12-yard line, not the 10, and the fact is that we could have another first down.
Ball on the 12, 1st and 10. Fourth period just underway here in Brooke. Wesson squirms his way through the hole, and he's down to around the 6-yard line, so it'll pick up of about 6.
You know, Chuck Wesson is not a giant person, but the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is how strong he is. But there he showed that famous halfback routine of giving him a hip and taking it back, and he did it twice and ended up getting the third one. Didn't fall for it, unfortunately, but he got a nice gain on that play.
Handoff to Connorth, but he doesn't get much on the play. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 6. Looking at the Falcons' backfield, we've been doing extremely well because we have 3 rushers in the top 8 of the Steel Valley. Our leading rusher is Chuck Wesson. He has 494 yards. But Matt Marakovich and Albert Connorth are 6 and 7, and they have 219 and 217 yards. So we have a lot of people up there, and we get the ball to a lot of runners, and also Derek Fletcher has carried the ball a lot, so our ground game is doing well this year. Fletcher rolls out. Good play by Derek Fletcher. He is still going on his feet. He is able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Derek Fletcher did a super job. Obviously, we ran to the right to set up the field goal. I was thinking about this before, too. The fact is we want another 3 points just to protect this lead. And Derek did a great job of getting away, and he dove right for the center of the football field.
In the NFL, he would have been down, but it would have been in the grass. But that was a little heroics along the line of Vinny Testaverde a couple years back against Oklahoma. Fletcher able to get back to the line of scrimmage, and now Wilkins will set up for a 25-yard field goal, and he made 3 last week of 20, 28, and 22. This one is up, and it's good.
They called the time went out. They're going to give us a 5-yard penalty.
Well, that'll move it 5 yards back and make it a 30-yard field goal. Not out of the range of Jeff Wilkins. He's been successful on 5 of 6 this year, but he has 5 in a row going. He has a 25 and a 43-yard field goal against Massillon, and then last week, 20, 28, and 22 yards. The only one he missed was 35 yards early in the year against Menor, the second game of the season. So this time he'll be going from 30 yards right in the middle of the field.
And this time the flags are going in his favor.
And that's going to be no good, though. So Jeff Wilkins gets a bad kickoff. He had completed the last one, but the penalty nullified it, and that one is no good. So the Falcons still have a 14-point lead, but they come up empty-handed twice here in the second half.
I'll tell you, it is really something. We move the ball. I don't know if is it our offense, and it's a wide open offense, and when you get within the 10 yards, they have less people to have to cover. Maybe that's the case. But it's really weird how we can move the ball so easily and get stopped.
Defense is back out on the field. The Bruins have 1st and 10 on their own 20. Option. Quarterback Vasil's going to keep it. He's going to pick up about 3.5 on the carry. So it'll bring up 2nd down and 7. 9:26 remaining in the game.
I'll tell you what, now their plays are taking almost a minute to run. I can't believe that Brooke doesn't speed up a little bit and start passing.
I was a little ahead of myself. That's 9:26 remaining in the 3rd period. Not the game. Pitch to the deep back. Good play there, but they're finally brought down by Hauser and Campbell. Good play by number 42, Mahakovich, the outside linebacker, for turning the play inside, but we didn't make the tackle soon enough. Still to bring up 3rd down and 7, 6 now for the Bruins.
Falcons, once again, even on defense, they're doing a great job up front. They're making them have to do things that they don't want to do, confuse their offense, and it's working so very well against the Brooke Bruins.
3rd down and a long 6. Long count as well. Hand off to the second back. Good penetration there by number 73, Rich the Chalk. Finally, Starry, Opalak, Powers, and Hauser knock him out of bounds. So he'll be shy of the 1st down by about 4 yards.
We have a great sight angle from up here. But Rich the Chalk was chasing the runner and literally dragging someone who was trying to block him, but he was actually holding his shirt. He was dragging him with him.
So the Bruins are stopped quickly by a strong Falcon defense. 7:55 remaining in the 3rd period. Opalak, good running by Todd Opalak. He's around the outside. He is still on his feet, and he's all the way down to the 45.
That was one fantastic run by Todd Opalak. And poor Kevin is sitting here. He's getting confused. He was talking about 9 minutes left to go in the game, but he looked up at the scoreboard, and it says the 3rd quarter. It is not the 3rd quarter. It is the 4th quarter. And now he's less confused. But that was one great run by Todd Opalak.
Usually I give more reliance to the people working the boards than my own memory as we go along here, but I was right that time. This is 7 minutes remaining in the game. That was Marakovich on the carry.
What's happening now is the defensive line of the Brooke Bruins are simply going down to their knees. They're not standing up anymore because they were getting blown away. And as they drop to their knees, they become a harder target to try to move out.
2nd and 8 for the Falcons. Ball resting on the Bruins' 43-yard line. Connorth gets the carry, but he doesn't get much. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, so it'll bring up 3rd down and long, and the Falcons still are trying to keep a drive going and getting it into the end zone. We're still ahead by 14 points with 6:45 remaining in this contest. That is 6:45 remaining in the contest. It is the 4th quarter.
You know, Kevin, the score is 14-0, but the fact of the matter is this has been a one-sided football game. We have caused a lot of our own troubles, and we've had some penalties against us that we were kind of strange.
Wesson breaks a tackle. He'll be short of the 1st down by about 2 yards. But I think the Falcons are in 4-down territory. It'll be 3 that he'll be shy of the 1st down marker. Looks like we're going to bring a play in, but we better do it soon. We've been having trouble with...
They didn't set the clock in. Now they set it. Okay, now we have 25 seconds. We're down to 20.
Eric Tofield brings the play in.
Now, they were looking to the sideline again, Kevin. I hope it wasn't, they're not confused.
4th down and 3 for the Falcons. Hand off to Marakovich, but the Bruins had that play, and there's a flag on the play, but I don't think it's going to be against the Bruins. We'll have to see the official call. It
is. It's against the Bruins, and it's a face mask, and it was. They really did have it. I give the official credit. That's not going to be a very popular call in West Virginia, but the fact is that he did wrap his face around him, and they had him dead to rights. He didn't need to. There was no need to grab the face mask.
So that's going to move it ahead 15 yards, and that'll be big for the Falcons. Now they're inside the 25, ball resting at the 23-yard line. 5:30 and counting remaining in this contest. Wide out this side is Jeff Scott. Handoff right up the middle to Marakovich. Good carry. He's going to pick up about 5. Flags. There's a little altercation between Jeff Scott and one of the Bruin players. And I think that'll cost the Falcons because they seem to be indicating that Jeff Scott was...
Now they're talking to both of them, though. Let's see. It should be on each other.
Personal foul against the Bruins and personal foul against the Falcons. So that will be offsetting, and the play will have to be run over.
Well, that should be a dead ball. I think it's a dead ball foul. It should have been. But wait a minute, they're looking at where the ball is now. It should have been a dead ball foul because the confrontation came after the play was dead. Yeah, I mean, I give them credit for the fact that they stopped both of the boys. They talked to both of them, trying to calm things down. But I don't understand this. That should be a dead ball foul. Oh, I see. They're thinking about a first down, I think.
Well, the officials are conferring on the field.
Now, I see what they're going to do. They're going to. It's not offsetting. They're going to give us half the distance and then draw back 15 yards. But they just moved the flags. They shouldn't have moved the flags. We got to. Wait a minute. We're getting a first. All right. We got a first down. They gave us a first down, and now they're giving us. All right, there we go.
So in the end, the Falcons lose on that transfer
Yeah.
because we only got half the distance to the goal, but we'll lose 15 yards. We do get a first down, but now we're all the way out to the Bruins 24.
I see how that worked. Right. They gave us, they counted it off. They gave us the half the distance. It was a first down, and then they moved back and brought us back the full 15 yards.
The Falcons stands are now doing their own version of the wave. And you got to give them credit for trying.
They're not bad.
Hand off to Weston. He's only going to pick up 2. So bring up second down and a long way to go. We have goal to go. So it's second down and goal to go. Ball on the 23-yard line.
They're trying to take a picture of the wave over there. It's now we got a jump up wave here. That's a beautiful job by the Fitch Falcon fans. They really look good. Well, the Fitch Falcons are going to have their job cut out for them.
Opalik is the carrier. He's all the way down to the 20. 4:26 and counting left here at Brooke, West Virginia in this contest. Third down and goal to go for the Falcons, but the ball's resting on the 20-yard line. So maybe we'll set it up for another Jeff Wilkins field goal try. Either way, the Bruins would be hard-pressed to make a comeback at this point. Lone back is Marakovich. Wide out this side is number 22, Rob Tofill. Fletcher's looking for Tofill. He's going to keep it himself. And he's all the way down inside the 5 and finally knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line. So good running by Derek Fletcher puts us in scoring position. He'll stop the clock with 3:48 remaining. And we'll have 2.5 yards separating us from the end zone in a possible second half score. It's eluded us twice on a missed field goal by Wilkins and a 4th and 1 goal to go situation that the Falcons failed earlier in the third period. We're going to go for it here. Marakovich, the lone back, two wings, though, Palick and Connorith. Fletcher rolls out. He has end zone on his mind. Flags are in the air. He has a completed, successful touchdown pass to number 1, Toto Palick. That would be a 3-yard completion, but there is a flag, and it may nullify it. And that will be against the Falcons. That's going to move it back 10 yards. So the Falcons will now have 4th and goal to go on the 13, and Jeff Wilkins will get a second chance here at a field goal. This attempt by Wilkins is going to be a 29-yard. It will be a 29-yard attempt here. And it's up and good. So Jeff Wilkins is back in form, and he is now 6 of 8 on field goals, and that's good from 29 yards out. The Falcons now go ahead with 3:39 remaining in the contest. 17 for the Falcons, 0 for Brooke.
Those points are very important. The fact that we weren't scoring at all in the second half, and we wanted to get that score in there just to make sure. You need that insurance. 2 touchdowns is one thing. 2 touchdowns, a field goal, or another touchdown is really difficult with only 3 minutes and 39 seconds to go. But once again, the Falcons are going to have to look at some of the things that have gone wrong when we get in that 10-yard line. The fact that we push people around all over the field and just can't score at the end is something that in this big game that's coming up this weekend in Warren Western Reserve just simply can't happen. And if I call your attention to the traffic leaving here, there's a lot of people leaving, and there's only one lane out of here.
Does that mean we'll be in Brooke for a long time? A big mix-up by the Bruins. And they're finally brought down inside their 10-yard line. And that one's for sports foul-ups, bleeps, and blunders to hit the returner right in his helmet. They're able to recover it, but they're inside their 10. They only have 3:34 to work with. They're down by 17, and it looks like this one's in the bag for the Falcons.
Well, we're down to the 3.5 minutes to go. Brooke has their work cut out for them back on their 9-yard line.
Basil drops straight back. He's looking for a quick 3, a quick 6. And Toto Palick almost had his 5th interception of the year, but just out of his hands. Basil was looking for a deep play there, a big play, because Bruins must come back here with only 3 minutes remaining. This will bring the Falcons to 6-1 if they win. And of course, we've been talking about the Warren Western Reserve contest next Saturday night at Mollenkopf Stadium in Warren. And tickets will be on sale Wednesday and Thursday at the South Ticket Circle from 6 to 8 p.m. And I'm sure reserve season ticket holders will be able to get their tickets earlier. So keep an eye on the bulletin board on Channel 19 and in the Austintown Leader, and they'll tell you when to pick up those tickets. A completion there for the Bruins, and a good one. They'll pick up about 13 yards.
And the officials keep trying to stop the clock, and the clock was still running on that last play.
2:50 now remaining in the contest. Bruins trying to save as much time as they can. Falcons running with 5 defensive backs, 4 down linemen. Good pressure there by the Falcons. The ball's thrown up. Palick makes a nice play, but the reception is made at the 40-yard line of the Bruins. So the Bruins are mounting a drive here using strictly the airways as their way to do it. And speaking of that, looking at the statistics for the defense, we are 3rd in the SBC. We're giving up an average of 176 yards per game. But we are 2nd against the against the rush. We defense the rush and only get up 86 yards per game, but we are last in defensing the pass. We give up 89 yards per game passing, so that is our weakness. 1st and 10, ball on the 39 of the Bruins. Almost picked off again by both Camel and Opalik. Todd Opalik's looking for that 5th one, and he's coming close to several times.
You know, it fascinates me. We're playing, obviously, a prevent defense, but they're just throwing the ball right up in the air. I mean, straight up and saying, okay, somebody catch it.
So the clock is now standing at 2:05. After Warren Western Reserve, the Falcons have another big game. That will be against Boardman at Boardman. And then finally, we'll finish up on November 4th for Parents' Night against the East High Golden Bears. That will be at Falcon Stadium. The chalk putting pressure on Basile. Completion is made to Croce. Stopped by Powers at the 45. A timeout has been called by the Bruins with 1:49 remaining. They'll now have 2 timeouts left. Falcons will still maintain a prevent defense.
Well, we have a break in the action. And let me remind you that this is a production of the Austintown Fitch High School television production class. The general manager of Channel 19 is Mr. Paul Porman. The production manager and classroom instructor is Mr. Ken Carano. The studio supervisor is Mrs. Linda Sarver. The technical advisor is Mr. Lou Gaskell. Our director for this production is Mr. John Hoppa. The cameramen and soundmen are Bill Ologis and Jim Beckett. And we'd like to thank once again the Bob Sen Studios of Photography and Kamara Jewelers for their sponsorship of this program, and certainly the announcer, Kevin Powers.
So 1:49 is remaining here in Brooke, West Virginia. 3rd and 3.5 for the Bruins. Ball in their own 42.
Coach Kenny has to move off the field quickly before he's part of the action here.
Falcons have their 5 defensive backs in the prevent defense. Lone back for the Bruins. They have all their men on the other side of the field. There are 3 receivers. They go there. Good play by Campbell. And that will be incomplete. So 4th down and 3.5 now facing the Bruins.
Rich the Chalk is back in. It'll be a nice drive home for the Falcons and for us. It may be a long drive home. We'll be here for probably another hour after the game before we can get out of the stadium.
Indeed, also West Virginia, Brooke, West Virginia will not soon forget the Falcons. They'll know what Northeast Ohio football is all about, and especially the Steel Valley. They're close to the 1st down yardage. Hauser was the stop there. Speaking of the Steel Valley, the Falcons are 1-1 in the Steel Valley. They beat Ursuline and lost to Mooney. However, Mooney beat Boardman, and Ursuline beat Boardman. So the hope is now that Ursuline can beat Mooney, and then you'd have a 3-way tie for the Steel Valley between ourselves, Ursuline, and Mooney. Otherwise, if Mooney wins, they'll be the undisputed Steel Valley crown holders for this football season.
The ball is going to go over on downs to the Falcons. They were short of the 1st down marker. And with 1 minute and 37 seconds left to go in the game, it's pretty well assured the Falcons are now going to be 6-1. You know, we talk about the different style of football, and the fact of the matter is it is a tough style of football. Austintown Fitch is, ranked 10th in the state of Ohio, and that means that people think there's 9 people better, and this was the championship of last year.
Flag on the play. Marakovic able to get 12 yards. Good running by Marakovic still. 1:14 is what's left. That's a face mask against Marakovic, and that's going to be 15 more yards. And now the Falcons will be once again in some sort of scoring position, but I'm sure we won't gamble. We'll just run it and keep plowing forward towards the end zone. If we score, we score. If we don't, hey, we're coming out of here with a victory.
For your information, this is a one-year contract, so they have to see if we're going to renegotiate the contract for next year. The question, obviously, for both teams was, how good is the other team?
Maybe they'll pull Canton McKinley and back out on the contract.
Well,
maybe they'll get sick of being beat too often.
Well, you know, the thing is that this town really prides itself on football. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they would not be overly thrilled with playing us again, because the statistics at the end of this game should be overly whopping in the favor of the Falcons.
Marakovich, the carrier, he gets 6 more, so he's probably bound to be the leading rusher for the Falcons today. He's had some good runs. You know, this has been a fine ball game. Brooke was a heck of a team. It was an excellent team. The Falcons were just able to get ahead and stay ahead. And you got to give credit to the Brooke team and the coaching staff. And also, this is a nice stadium, nice fans. So having to play Brooke again wouldn't be bad for the Falcons next year. So we'll have to see what happens there. But right now, we're concerned about the 88th season. And they're going to end this game right now with Derek Fletcher going down the one knee. That'll run out the time on the clock.
That showed a little class by Coach Hartman. We really probably could have scored again, and he doesn't want to build up the score. This will be the end of the game. We'll have the shaking of the hands, and the boys will go out to dinner and head home for victorious.
And that'll end it here in Brooke, West Virginia, with the final score being the Austintown Fitch Falcons 17, the Brooke Bruins nothing. Join us again next week when we battle reserve for the rebroadcast, and keep watching for all the sports on Austintown Community Television.
This is Austintown Community Television, Channel 19, a consortium between the Austintown Schools, the Austintown Trustees, and Armstrong Cable Channel. We hope you enjoy this rebroadcast. We invite you to call the school with any of your comments, and tune in next week when we travel out to Warren Western Reserve to play the Warren Western Reserve Raiders.